Well, hello, I'm Jerry McKee. Welcome to Primetime. This is episode 39. Wow, time's flying. If you count down the weeks, that's 39 weeks that we've been on. Actually, 40 weeks. We kind of did a different thing on one episode. Basically, 40 weeks. And we got a special guest. We've got Daniel Prince, and you probably haven't seen his face. You probably heard his voice across Union County at WBCU, and he's I guess, of many hats he wears there, because quite a few hats when you DJ. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk with Daniel here in just a moment, right after the message from Graham's.
Most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
Well, we're back. It was quick. I was here, caught me pushing buttons and doing little things here. You know how that goes. And let me switch off myself. And Daniel, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well for a Monday.
For a Monday, Mondays are a busy day, aren't they?
I've always said Monday the 13th should be far scarier than Friday the 13th. I don't know why it's not, but yeah.
Well, Monday it is the 13th. I didn't even think about that right there. Well, yeah, most people think Friday the 13th is just horrible. Mm-hmm. To me, it's start of the weekend, so it's really great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did, as growing up, was you around a lot of music, or did you? What got you started just even into music? Because you gotta love music to DJ.
Oh, definitely. I guess you don't necessarily have to, but it certainly helps. I was involved in church since a baby. We had toddler choirs and children's choirs and things like that, and we always had music go in the house and in the car and different things like that. So I just got really involved in church music to begin with, and discovered along the way that I was decently good at it. I didn't think a lot about it. When you're a kid, you just do it because you love it and that sort of thing. And so just always enjoyed doing it. Got into different choirs in school and that sort of thing.
Now, do you play any instruments?
Never really learned an instrument. Harmonica is about the closest I could get. Recorder I was okay with in third grade, but that skill is gone.
Well, Freddie Vanderford could help you on the mark.
I'm sure. I always wanted to learn the piano. Couldn't really afford the lessons or anything along those lines. But that's still a dream of mine is to learn how to play the piano. I just always thought that'd be really therapeutic. Come down, come home and just play.
I always wanted to learn myself, and look like I've been living with a pianist for 30 years, and looked like I just said, okay, teach me, but she said, you can't teach old dog new tricks, and I know what she means like that. And I can read some music just a little bit by the notes, doing this right here, but it takes a certain little skill to do that, doesn't it? Now, you was in church, did you sing? Because I know you're a great singer. I've heard you sing many times. You're real good. Did you? How did you discover it when you was little, growing up, that you can sing, and somebody said, hey, you sing pretty good?
I honestly don't remember a time that that it was just, hey, that I could do it, but I knew I loved it. Probably about the 8th grade was when I came to understand that I enjoyed singing for people. I was really, really shy once I got into my teenage years. That happens to a lot of adolescents. I have a daughter going through that right now, so I tell her I feel your pain all the time. But that was one way I was able to get out of my shell. One Christmas I got just randomly several Elvis Presley cassette tapes for Christmas one year. It was something the school had given us, and I just got to listen to it and started singing, and I knew some of the songs from listening to oldies radio and things like that, and started seeing if I could emulate his voice a little bit and that sort of thing.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you that. Did you sound like Elvis? And
they said I was pretty dead on. I was just kind of messing around a little bit, trying to find my niche, and that seemed to be where it was. Getting into that and getting up on the stage. I always loved drama going through school and that sort of thing.
Well, that helped you a lot to get over
all just kind of
shyness,
meshed in together.
Yeah, I imagine the drama helped you quite a bit to get over shyness. I don't know if did you remember the first time you got up to sing in front of a bunch of people? Was you nervous?
And looking back on it, it's funny to me now because I don't think a thing in the world about it now. But yeah, I was lock your knees, hold on tight to whatever you got, and pray nobody sees you shaking. Pray that nobody hears your voice shaking. But it took a few tries to get over that. But finally, especially in church, recognizing who you're singing for, you're not really singing for the people that's there in church, yeah. And I think that's why I like that side of things more, because you're able to focus your attention more on God and less on everybody else.
Right, and I went to a church, special church in Kentucky, and the women there, when they would sing, they would go and face the wall. Mm-hmm. They said they did not want to take anything from God, that their voice, and they was pretty voices, but they would not face out. They faced there.
Well, that would make you very, very comfortable trying to sing with not seeing anybody.
Well, you probably can, if you're like myself, you when I can talk easy with a big crowd than I can a few people. Because it seems like there's a few people, you got their undivided attention, that one, where before you just kind of scan around.
Right.
And I know you do a talk a lot, and you have a lot of people come up to you, and I don't know if have they ever asked you to MC a beauty pageant? Or?
Haven't had to go that route yet. I've trying to remember. I've done a couple of things along the way. I'm drawing a blank on specific events and things, but there have been a few times I've been asked to do some things.
I know I've had to do that one time like that, and it's really nerve-wracking. And especially, I'm horrible on names. I don't like calling names out because I'm sitting here, I'll butcher a name up in a skinny minute. Now, you went to, where'd you go to college at?
Went to Toccoa Falls College, a nice little small Christian college in northeast Georgia. I was living in Anderson at the time, so it was about an hour and a half drive from Anderson. Well, no, it was probably a little less than that, probably closer to an hour to Toccoa. And had a really strong broadcasting program. I looked in state, and all the good programs were at really big schools, and I was never drawn to the USCs or the Clemsons or things like that. I always wanted a little smaller size where you don't get lost,
Right, and not too many bigger schools offer the broadcasting.
No, in fact, Toccoa doesn't anymore. I don't know what the last class was, but I had to have been one of the last 2 or 3 classes to go through that program down there. So
now you when you was going to school there, you did some intern at radio station in Toccoa, correct?
Yep. Went down there. There's a great big Christian station right there on campus, and that was the one I always thought I would, get to work at and that sort of thing. Then there was the college station on campus as well, and but no, it was the secular station in town that was playing music from they called it the beautiful music from the 40s and 50s and things at the time, and they were branching into some of the 60s and 70s when I got there. But yeah, interned with them for a while. Ran the board during ball games and stuffed envelopes at bill time, and all the different things that they get part timers to do, and really kind of enjoyed it.
Now, do you know a lot of when a song's playing? That's the artist. That's the song. Do you have a big genre of vocabulary of when you hearing music, different music, where you be in the store, like that pops up, and because you've been in the music almost 20 years with WBCU, so when you hear these songs like that, do you come up with the names of the artists, or?
A lot of times I can, especially on the countryside. Maybe not as much anymore since I've kind of moved out from the music side in recent years. But yeah, any of the country songs, really from about the 60s, 70s on up, to more recent times, I'm pretty good at. Like I said, I'm pretty well versed in oldies and different things. I'm bad about names of groups sometimes, more so than names of songs.
Right.
But thinking it was the Bee Gees when I first got into WNEG. I completely butchered it because I was listening to the song. It sounded to me completely like a female singing it at one of the parts.
Yes.
And I said, "Didn't she sound good?" And the operations manager looked at me later and said, "That was not a girl." Said, "Well, you know what you know, and the rest you say with confidence."
That's it. And too late, you done said it, right? Yeah, my son Brian Harris, he's got a collection that would fill this. It would fill these two rooms up here, and he's been collecting since he was little. And from the older music on up to the 80s, like it's hard for it to stump him. It is very hard. Me and my brother-in-law, we try when we're out eating together. Will says, "Brian, tell us just right who sung this," and he'll go, just snap it right off, and we just said, "Wow, can't believe that." He should have been a DJ because he worked at, I don't know if you remember, Hodges Music Store.
I think it had closed by the time I got to town, but yeah.
But anyway, when he was little, when he's growing up as a teen, he worked in there. So his love for music is awesome.
Yeah. That was right across from WBCU, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yep.
I've got the lady's name now. She's up in her 90s now that used to just, I guess, retired from there. Been there all these years. But she's that store, it's when they had the 45s. Now, when you went in your internship, what type of records? And so, were there 45s? Were there any CDs or cassettes, or what did you have to play on?
We were for the music, we would use CDs at WNEG, and for the commercials, a lot of times we would use the carts. If you're not familiar with that particular technology, it's kind of like it looks very much like an 8-track tape. You pop it in the machine, you hit play, it'll play it in a loop and bring it back around to the end, and you take it back out, put your next one in. We'd have about 3 or 4 or 5 stacks of carts in there, and we'd just hit them one right after another for ball games and things like that. At school, we learned how to do the records because our professor was like, I want to prepare you for any type of station you could possibly be at. So they versed us on how to roll back the record, the half turn, whatever, to get it started so it doesn't just you hear come that up.
That's it. Yeah, you got your hand on the. Yep, that's it. And people don't realize why. Now I'm gonna ask you this: why did you do that?
That is to give the motor of the record player enough time to get it going to full RPM before the audio actually hits. So there's in any track there's that little bit of space in between that's just silence. So you would take it back usually about half a turn would do it, and you would just let it go when you turn it on, and by the time it got to the beginning of the audio, it's spinning full speed, and it's like you meant it to do it that way.
Yeah, and it's kind of like editing videos like that. I usually count 1, 2, 3, and then hit. Mm-hmm. That gives me time to go back and get right when it starts. But yeah, I remember this because queuing it up, we called it, queued it up, and got it ready. Well, we'll be right back in just a moment. We're going to talk some more about some of the detailed things in the radio station, where it's not just having fun playing records. It is a job. So we'll be right back right after Graham's.
For the most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you, at Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
All right, we're back, and we're talking to Daniel Prince. He is the voice of WBCU. You probably hear or probably talk to him on the phone in the swapping shop, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And now we was talking about queuing up the records and the 8-track things. Mm-hmm. Now, when they was teaching you this, one of the important things they taught probably was timekeeping. Mm. So do you use that now? Do you get everywhere you go? Do you look at your watch, look at the time, or
people point out all the time that I'm always late for everything. So you would think I would be better at time because of the industry I'm in, but I try to pack as much into my day as I possibly can. So I'm always I can get this one more thing done before I have to go here, and it doesn't always work that way, but. Right. But I tell you, when you're on the air and trying to figure out, can I play this song in this amount of time and all that, you get really good at adding and subtracting time very quickly. Math was always a big thing with me, so I was very comfortable with that and being able to add and subtract time. I didn't realize it would be so big of a part of what I do, but it really is.
Now, when we was talking about the 45s, when playing the 45s, then of course cassettes come in, that was a big great thing, but we know they either got eat up or dragged, yeah. So they went very, I know that companies used to send out big albums with the top 100 songs, the Billboard songs. Did you ever see those or get those?
Don't believe I ever did. I don't recall ever seeing them.
Yeah,
I've seen some CD collections and that sort of thing, but
right. The radio station that I worked at one time, they would send in the top 100s. They paid a contract for that, and it come on a big album. Huh. And we had to, when we got through stuff we actually had to destroy the albums. Wow. And I always thought, man, if I had those collections like that. Now, do you have any dealings with Reel to Reel?
Not as much in my professional life, but again, it was one of those things that, be prepared for everything. So they taught us well in school about it, and actually a little bit at the very beginning of WNEG down in Toccoa. They were using reel to reel still for some of their audio recordings. So I did have to do my fair share of taking the razor blade and doing that. And it's never a straight up and down cut. It's always a diagonal cut. and then you're able to fit the two pieces together and tape it up, and it sounds seamless when you do it right.
So it's easier to do it diagonally than it was just straight across, right?
Oh, they told you never to do it straight across, and I don't remember the exact reasoning why. I think it had something to do with the fit together, but there was a reason behind it. But I do remember that you always cut on the diagonal.
Now, do you have a reel-to-reel at home?
I do not.
I always wanted one.
Right. We have one at the station, and I cannot remember if it works or not. But I've found several of our old reels that we have in storage, so I would love to get that up and going and figure out if that still works, because there's no telling what's on some of those reel-to-reels.
Oh yeah, and you can convert them over to at least a DVD or into a format where MP. 4, now they got all this new stuff that we do, and now I've worked a little bit on a reel-to-reel 16 channel, and if people not know really what a 16 channel is that where you can record one voice on one channel, then you click up and you can put the music on it and you mix it that way. Now, how do you mix it today?
Everything is on the computer, so we like to use the Audacity program because it's free and it's pretty easy to use. So just you can take the audio of the voice that you record, put that onto one track. If you need to add music separately, you can add that under it on the second track, layer in whatever you need to along those lines. A lot of times we just do it all together on the fly and just record it in the computer with playing the music on the CD under us and recording the spot live. So just kind of varies based on the need.
Right. Well, I know when I edit my videos and things, when I put music in it, I always put that in last because I can adjust the sound with my voice where you don't want the music overpowering your voice when you're doing a commercial or even talking just regular, because you got to have that minimum of something in the background. And of course, our digital age now makes it much better for us than the old-fashioned way. Now, do you have to be a good writer?
To do what I do, at this point, yes. I've been the news director at the radio station now for 3 years. In fact, 3 years at the end of October. It was when Mike Stevens had his stroke in 2020 and was no longer able to do that. Miss him terribly, but definitely have to write well to be able to do that. He was such a master of writing for the ear. He could write it. I couldn't publish it the way that he wrote it, but he could write it into a way that when you heard it on the radio, that's the way it's supposed to sound.
Right.
That's a struggle for me. I tend to write to where you can read it. That's my strength, writing to read.
Okay. Now, when you're, say for instance, salesperson comes in and says, you know what, I've got this business here and we need to write a commercial. What is how do you go about writing a commercial for a business that wants to advertise to you? What are some of the things that you need to make that happen if a customer comes in that does not know anything about, radio, time-wise and stuff like that, and they come to you and it says, okay, here's my business. What can you do? What is your thought process, and how do you go about doing that?
Thankfully, I don't have to. Sales is one area is pretty much the only area I haven't gotten my fingers in that radio station over 20 years. But I took a whole copywriting course in college and all of that. And I've been around it enough to know that you listen to your client. That's the most important thing. Figure out what they want to get across, and then you take that and you you kind of run with it and try to limit the focus. You're only trying to get across one idea. So that's one problem that amateurs get into sometimes, is trying to fit in too many ideas into something, and then it just gets lost in the commercial.
And with you doing a commercial on the radio, to me, it's harder because you got to visualize it, because even though the sales comes out and brings you the package, well, you've got to make it sound. You've got to make the music background, if you have that added to it, to select the right music, and that's a key thing is selecting the right music to go in that background, and you've got to come up with maybe a storyline. And they used to have books. I know years ago they used to have books that you could go to that the radio station had that gives you some kind of ideas how to certain ads it can add to it to give you some goes. I don't know if you have those or not, or
I don't think we do. Chris and Linda, they are very good at what they do. They handle all the sales, and they pretty much write the ads for us. Every now and then, Chris will get busy, and he'll give me a flyer or something, and say, put something together and get it recorded for me real quick, whatever. But they can crank them out pretty quick, and one of the other things, the key things, is people don't realize, how tight 30 seconds is for a commercial. Word limits and things like that. There's several times I get a script or something. I say I talk fast, but I can't get all that into a 30. I have to make a edit or two before we go into production, that sort of thing.
Right.
So.
And that's one thing people don't realize is when they listen to an ad, it's timed because you're selling the ad, and the customer is paying for, well, it'd be 15 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know. What intervals do the ads?
The key ones are 30s and 60s. We are seeing more and more 15s these days as attention spans shrink and inventory shrink. More and more kind of going to 15. It's very difficult, especially getting into the automation side of things. Once you get into satellite time, these breaks are specific lengths, and if it goes beyond 3.5 minutes, you're stepping on the music. And so if you're consistently putting out 33, 34 second commercials, the timing just isn't going to work. So it's got to be as close to 30, as close to 60 or 15 as possible.
Right, and you don't want to have dead air, right?
Right. That's rule number one on day one in college, going into Radio 101 is dead air is a no-no. and I do this when I perform at a wedding, and they're picking songs out for them to either light the candle or something like that, and they're picking out a 4.5 minute song, and I said, do you realize how long that is? It's more like 20 minutes to the people sitting out here, and it's about 25 or 30 minutes to you, because you're going to sit here and look at each other for 4.5 minutes. And try not to laugh.
And try not to laugh, because it's going on and on and on. So I suggest, lower, and also either tell the guys doing the music, fade it out, And so when you're getting into dead air, 30 seconds is a long time.
Absolutely.
To be dead air. Because someone says, I do channel surfing. So when I channel surf, if it's dead, I go to the next one. So some of us might just miss you and go on.
Yeah. And I tell you, I still have some school nightmares, but my biggest professional nightmares that I still have is being trapped at a station with a mile-long hallway, and you're on one end, the studio's on the other end, and there's nothing playing on the radio, and you have to get down there to start something else.
Now, here's a question. You're in the studio, you're playing your music, you're putting everything together. and you got to run to the restroom. Mm-hmm. And years ago, what I used to do is find a song that's long mm-hmm. and have it queued up to where, okay, I know it's going to take me this long to get there and back. Or how do you time that, even if you're eating something?
Yeah. You learn your body's rhythms and how long it's going to take you, and so you it's pretty easy to schedule in a song and have it run into a commercial break if needed, and all that to give you enough time to do what you need to do. So that's about how that has to go. But well, I tell you, Kimberly, who's working for us now, she's got it down. She can get a song on, 2-minute song, and she'll be back in plenty of time. So she's been at that for a number of years too. So
she's a morning show.
Yeah, she does 10 to noon for us.
Oh, okay.
In fact, she took that part of the show from me once I got in the news director, and when she moved down last year, she came up and wanted to know how she could get involved, and tell you what, she is just phenomenal in her storytelling, and it had been years since she's done a music format, but you wouldn't be able to tell it by listening to her. She is awesome.
Now, does Chris have the early show?
Yes, yeah. He does 6 till 10.
Wake up with Woody, right?
Yeah, wake up with Woody. See, I used to do that whole 6 to 12 deal, and that's a long time.
Yeah, because usually the DJs usually most times max 4 hours mm-hmm. on air.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back right after this message in a moment from Graham Flowers, and we're going to come back and ask Daniel there about his formatting, his how he can answer the phone, talk on the radio, flip a switch, and all this. One time does he use his toes or what? But we'll be right back.
For the most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
Okay, Daniel. Now, in the studio, you're in a box.
Yep.
And now, here I am interviewing you, and you interview a lot of people.
Yes.
They get them come in. You have some great interviews, and like anything else, you have some that's not so great. But when you're in that box a good length of time, do you ever get like, I call it stare crazy, because you're thinking, I'm talking to myself. Because really, you are.
Yes, it's all how you look at it. I'm perfectly good with being by myself. That's how I'm wired. So I don't have any problems with that. It did kind of freaked me out the first year or so, getting used to being right there in the window where everybody walking the street could see what I'm doing and that sort of thing. After a while, you learn not to pay it a whole lot of attention and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's
you see a lot of things go by that window, don't you?
Oh yes. I haven't seen all the things that Mike used to see when he was doing that, but he had some stories. But
I'll bet. Yeah, I know. I used to get where I'm talking, and playing when I'm talking, I'm talking and nobody's listening. I don't have nobody talking to, but I'm talking. Mm-hmm. And even though I have headphones on and you're listening, and I just still had that I'm talking thing, mm-hmm. To myself, and I had to kind of shake out of that because you get to wondering, the next thing you got dead air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they always taught us to picture your listener in your mind, and you're not talking to a vast, world out there. You're not talking to Radioland. You're talking to one specific listener, and you're picturing that person, and that's who you're talking to. So, in your mind, that person is always there in the studio with you, even if you can't see them. So.
Right. Now, you have a good radio voice, and not everybody has a good radio voice.
Oh, thank you.
Some guy told me that his dad owned the radio station, and he was telling me, he said, yes, when I had to go, I said I had to put a pencil in my mouth, go out there and learn how to talk a certain way. And I'm thinking, why? Now, when you went to school, did you ever have to put a pencil in your mouth?
I never had to do that. I had a wonderful professor, Stephen Dendrinos, who was he was a radio station manager down in Puerto Rico before he came to Toccoa Falls. And he always said, just be yourself. Don't be this radio voice, out there. You can do that, but it's people can tell it's put on. He said people want to see authenticity. They want to know, that they can relate to the person behind the microphone. So he said, don't worry about, everybody has the Midwestern accent. That's like the broadcast gold standard. He said, you got a Southern drawl, you rock it,
Yeah. And I know some DJs that did that same thing, that they would put on this radio voice. Hello, my name is Bob, and and you meet them out somewhere like this. Hey, my name's Bob. Yeah. They said, no, you're not. And DJs, I know we're very active, and you're very active, especially when Grease came out. A lot of DJs came out to the shows that was playing at, and they was outside and did some live things there. And I know you do a lot of live. Is it more difficult going out? Tell us a little bit about how you're going out and what you got to do prepared to go out into the field, not in the studio, to get prepared to go live.
For me, it starts in my head. Because, like I said, I've been a shy person for quite some time, and just amping yourself up for a public appearance, that takes every bit as much energy as all the setup and everything else does. So, being ready to go out into this situation, that's where it starts for me. It's actually a lot easier now going out than it used to be. There used to be a whole dedicated vehicle and this whole 500-pound cabinet worth of equipment that you'd have to haul out to every remote and have power, have phone lines run to it and all of this. It's thankfully not that way anymore. We can get everything we need in a suitcase and a duffel bag now. Less if we need it. I mean, we've done remotes just with our personal cell phone before. It just depends on what the need is, but
even with today's technology, you got to make sure you have a signal, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. If you don't have a signal, and I ran into that a couple of times, in especially the Carlisle Christmas Parade. More than one time, I've had to borrow somebody else's phone because the phone I was using to try to call back to the station did not have a signal.
Yeah.
Thankfully, their signal is better down there than it used to be. But there was a couple of times I had to record their Christmas parade and then drive up to the station and play it back because we just didn't have a signal to get it out.
I know I seen you down there when I was live streaming it last year, and you was kind of sitting on the corner right there. I guess that's where your best signal was at.
Oh yeah, it really is, and like I said, it's improved a lot through the years. I used to try to run an actual phone line from their town hall out there to the corner, and that got unwieldy really fast. So
well, you got people walking across it, running across it, and I'm looking forward to these parades because I like live streaming them, and people get to watch and don't get to go out, and plus the ones that's in the parade, they can go back and watch it. And people that can't get out and they going down the road, they listen to WBCU, FM or AM, and they'll be able to hear it.
Yep.
And you describe it very well as it's coming through. I know they move pretty fast when in parades.
Oh yeah.
So you got to.
That was one thing that Mike was always good at, was slowing down the parade, because he'd stop and talk to everybody, and people would sometimes complain about how much he did. So I try to walk that line in between what he does or what he did and still being able to provide good coverage, and so try not to insert myself into things, but still describe what's going on. So
Yeah, I need to talk to the band director when the band's coming down, because it seems like by the time they get to me, they're just going to they're not really playing.
Yeah, it does not matter where you set up. It's going to be the drum cadence by the time it gets to you.
Yes, and so we need to talk to them. So when you get in this area right here, says, give us the whole hoo-ha. We want to hear the whole thing, and of course we're on one side of the parade instead of both sides, because we can't be on both sides.
Yeah.
And so if anybody's on the other side, we don't see them. But we get good candy, don't we?
Oh yes. I try to be good. I only take one or two pieces usually, but they love throwing out that candy.
Yeah, it's like trick or treat. I mean, like a trick or treat, you're a big bag, hit the bag and stuff. And, but they're fun when you're doing outing. And I know you lighting up the lake. Y'all set up there, and do you get a good signal down at the lake?
Usually, we've when it's close in like that, we usually use our Marty equipment, which it's not really microwave signal, but it's kind of like that. But it'll shoot the signal from the antenna back to the station, and it's the same technology we use for home football games, and the sound is like you're right there. So with that, we don't have to worry about a signal. It'll get out probably to, say, maybe the Harbor Freight shopping center area is maybe about the extent of the range on that now. But
well, I know that down in Falls Park, down that area there, AT&T and Verizon both, I just cannot get a good
it can be tough.
because I need at least 5.5 upload speed. Download speed can be 1, but the upload speed is what I look at, because a lot of people say, "Hey, I got good internet." Okay, let me test it. And I test it, and I say, "Ooh, no, you don't." So I have to use something else. And now, when you're in the studio, now you doing the swap shop, you're answering phones, you're having to write things down that people's calling in. How do you organize all that? I mean, it looks like it'd be very hectic, because I'd hit a wrong button or something.
Those are the times I live for. I love having the chaos that you're trying to tame and all of that. It's a learning curve, just like anything else. You get more and more comfortable the more and more you do it. Hardest thing for me, the first few times I did Swap a Shop, was just being able to translate what's being said from the phone line into my headphones, and being able to interpret that, because number one, you have different people calling in, so you have different styles of speaking. You have some people have more of an accent than others. And then, the technology can kind of garble things a little bit too. So you're trying to interpret some of that too. So that was always the hardest part for me, at least at the beginning, was being able to fully understand what the person was trying to say. Right. The typing and all that, and the buttons. I mean, that was the easy part.
Well, you're a fast typer.
Oh yeah.
Because I've watched you at the county council over there, sitting over the laptop going. And my wife, she types fast. Me, no, I don't type fast. And
I learned that from a young age. My mom had a typewriter, and I had the little typing programs that we would get with our toys and things sometimes. And I kind of taught myself back in elementary school, and that's definitely served me well.
Now, I know we talked about your music and singing, but what turned your fascination onto radio?
Again, about that same time, 7th, 8th grade, voice changing and all this, and start to get your confidence shaken in what you think you're going to be capable of. So I knew I liked music. I knew I was pretty good at it, but I was also coming to the realization that there were so many others that would be better at it than me, and most likely that wasn't going to be my career path. Professional musician, probably not going to be what Daniel Prince is known for. Of course, we didn't have the American Idols and the Voices and all that back then. Otherwise, hey, I could have taken a shot. But
Exactly. Well, you still can.
Well, probably
America's
so,
Got Talent.
But by now, I'm too well established in what I'm doing. So too much a creature of habit.
So you don't want to go on the road and.
Yeah, it's probably not my kind of life right now.
Yeah, well, I want to be there in the video when you tell your wife that I'm going on the road. Yeah, well, you and the kids have fun. All right, we're going to be right back right after the message from Graham's Flowers Like That. We're talking with Daniel Prince, the voice at WBCU that you hear, especially during Swap and Shop and a lot of other programs, and when he's out in the field, you'll see him there. Look for the guys that got the funny looking ears. That's headphones. We'll be right back in just a moment.
For the most important moments in your life, when you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
All right, we're back, and you're looking right now at Daniel Prince. What are some of I know you do Swap and Shop, and people sell everything. Do you have any anecdotes of what some strange things that across there that people had to sell?
One immediately comes to mind. There's been countless more, I'm sure, but the one that has always stuck out of my mind, and I don't remember exactly when it was. I don't know if the lady is still around, and if so, I apologize if it's insensitive to bring it up. But my all-time favorite Swap and Shop call. A woman called in one day looking for a date to her class reunion. All right, I mean that's unusual enough. She had requirements, though, and the chief one was that he still had to have his teeth.
Well, that's a good requirement now. I think when me and my wife met, I think she checked my teeth.
I remember that just like it was yesterday, and I don't know how I made it through that call. And I feel like I took a break pretty soon after that because I lost it. That is still one of my funniest memories in radio. I need somebody to come with me to the class reunion. He's got to have his teeth.
Do you have any other requirements? Just his teeth? Well, see now that right there, Daniel, you could start a whole new program,
right?
You know, almost like the dating game.
Dating game. Yeah.
Oh man, that is funny. I keep hitting my button over here. It turns my chair on. Stop that. I'm heading back here. Now, you have a lot of buttons to push, to turn, and of course it's automatic with you. And if someone wants to, what's the suggestions you can give someone that says, you know what, I like to go work at a radio station. I want to be a DJ. What is some advice that you can give them?
It's a lot tougher now to get into, just because of the number of stations that have gone to all automation and things like that. Thankfully, here in Union, we have a great local station and have since 1949, and so that's a great way to get a foot in the door. We hire high school juniors and seniors, and some of our college folks come in and do some of our board work and things part-time for us. And that's really the ground floor to see if you're interested, if that's something that you can do. If you can handle the board, that's probably the most boring part of anything that goes on at a radio station. So if you can handle running the board for a ball game and being able to keep up with what's going on and do the right thing at the right time and answer the phone and not get tired of hearing the same question 30 different times from 30 different people and still be able to answer with a smile on your face, it could be for you.
Do you have anyone call you up and ask you request a song or call you up and says, now that song that you played 10 records ago, whatever like that, can you tell me who that was?
It does happen. And I'm proud to say more times than not I've been able to come up with an answer for those questions. There are times I've had to really rack my brain about it and call them back about an hour or two and figure it out. And there have been some that stumped me. But I've had them call and say, there's a song you played last Tuesday, and we're a week later or something like that. We don't really keep music logs like some stations do. We kind of have a freer format than some other stations do. So we do get to have some freedom with what we play. And so that does make it a little more difficult to go back and remember what was played when and that. But we do our best.
Do you have sometimes a format or that you play maybe some local musicians that's got CDs? Do y'all make a place to play some of them, or is that something that y'all kind of steer from?
Most of the time when we do our local things, it's going to be in the 9 o'clock hour, and we have certainly featured some artists local in the past during that time. We invite them in and have them play and talk to them a little bit about their music and things like that. Most recent one I can think of, we had T.J. Jeter in just a few weeks back. He was talking, mostly about the benefit for the Mauricia Jeter Scholarship Foundation that they were having, but asked him to play 2 or 3 of his songs, and he obliged us, and just phenomenally talented.
He is. I've got to video him a couple of times, and he is that. Now, some of your guests that you have, because you do have that talk program, I think from 10 to 11 or
usually
somewhere
9
in
to
between,
10.
Somewhere like that. And sometimes it's hard to get the guests to talk a little bit, isn't it? They get nervous.
More times than not, they are amazing.
Right.
But there are some that are a little more reserved and a little more nervous. And I always tell them just right from the beginning, it's you and it's me. We're just sitting down here. We're chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to let a few people listen in, but you don't have to worry about them. It's just me and you. It's just like when I sat down in here, I've always wondered what it'd be like to be on the other side of an interview. So I've always been the one asking the questions.
Right.
I had no idea, how this would go for me.
Well, I know that, and that's what I said. I got to get Daniel Prince in here because he's always interviewing, and in interviewing, you have to read the person that you're interviewing because these cameras intimidate people.
Yeah.
Where you're in the studio and they got the microphone and stuff like that, and and then I've seen politicians, I've seen people, pastors that speak, get a little nervous.
Oh, yeah.
But usually after you get into talking, like you said, you got to relax them.
Oh, yeah.
And being an interviewer, that you're interviewing someone, and you've got to read that, and you read it well. You make them feel comfortable with your voice, and I try to talk to them before we even go live, and say, this is what's going to happen, this is right here. And I said, and then you know what? I said, it's going to be over. Yeah. And I've had many of them say, gosh, that was fast. and it does.
Oh yeah, I mean it's amazing. I'll I don't do a ton of interview prep because I like to kind of let it flow. I'll have some things that I know that I want to ask. There are times that I get about halfway down my list and hey, we only have 5 minutes left. Final thoughts, that sort of thing.
Like me. We'll get on rabbit trails, and sometimes we go a little longer on this. I didn't finish the list. Now, you got a wife that teaches, and she does she listen to you?
She doesn't get to. She gets to hear some of my news stories that I record because my news time is basically I get up at 4:45 in the morning. I'm writing news and then I'm recording it from 6:20 to 6:30 usually and dropping it in right in time to air. So she'll sometimes get to hear a couple of my news stories that I'm recording, but. She used to listen when we were dating. I was back then. I was in the afternoon, 3 to 6 back then, and so she would listen after school to me.
Yeah.
And she was one that every now and then she'd come downtown, and one time she brought a sign and waved it in the window to me, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But now that you're married and stuff,
right,
things changed a little bit. Now the radio station. Go ahead and give the call letters and stuff that they can turn to AM and FM.
We are WBCU, 1460 AM, 103.5 FM. People say all the time, but you can only get WBCU in certain places. Well, yes and no. If you're trying to listen on the radio, yeah, there's limitations to the signal. If you've got one of these, got your cell phone, we're just a click away on the WBCU app for Android and iPhone. You can carry us with us wherever you go. If you have a computer, you can just log on WBCUradio.com. There's a Listen Live button there, and click on that, and that gets you right there at your desktop. So you can, wherever you are, there's a chance to get us.
Yeah, you got technology now. You have no excuses. You can get you anywhere. Just download the app, and most phones is connected to Bluetooth in your car.
Yep.
So there you go. You can listen to it on your radio.
Yep.
You don't have to sit there and hold your phone or anything like that. Be distracted. Get tuned in before you take off driving, and you got it.
Absolutely.
Now, radio station goes 24 hours.
Yes.
And years ago, they had to have the shifts of different DJs. Like Johnny Fever, he had the night shift on WKRP Cincinnati. But it's not like that now. So where does the music come from? Is no one loading it? No one's and do you have to program what songs is coming up for that day?
In a perfect world, we would love to be live 24/7. Just don't have the money for that. Small business, we've struggled like everybody sometimes. But we are blessed with a wonderful music service, and they, through the satellite, they provide us our music through the evenings and overnights and afternoons and all of that. So it's just a matter of scheduling in those times, and they handle all the music. We just plop in the commercials, and they'll put in theirs, and it all works pretty well.
Right.
Everything on satellite.
And people don't realize too that those licenses are expensive.
Oh yeah.
They're not. This is not like, hey, I can just get free music from the radio, but the radio gives me free music. They get it free, but it's not free because everyone that knows is any type of music you put on Facebook, YouTube, and if you don't have permission, if you don't have the license, you're going to get knocked off of it.
Yeah. Because
you got to pay for that license for the music. And the same thing as the radio station. They have to pay for that music.
Yeah. There's BMI, there's ASCAP, there is another one that's flying out of my mind. Then about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a fourth one that came into the mix and said, we want to get paid to have music for our clients. And then you hear, the industry keeps talking about, is there going to be a radio tax? And, is radio stations going to have to pay more for the songs that they're playing? And if that happens, that's going to be a hit for a lot of these small local stations.
Yeah,
it really is.
You got your antennas, you got maintenances, and it's a lot of stuff. I know you do a lot of maintenance on the board and stuff when things come up. So you're another title, engineer.
Little things. I'm better at fixing the computers and that sort of thing than the more technical aspects. But we'll. When it gets beyond me, we have a couple of people we can call from other parts of the state, and they're wonderful to come and help us out.
Well, Daniel, it's the top of the hour. Time has flew by. I know I've learned a lot from you and a lot about the station. I hope others have. And this is your small home radio station. It's been in business for many, many years, and it's got a lot of character and. Y'all really have a base there for the small business person and make it more personalized, because you shop here, your family shop here, everybody knows everybody here. I know that. I've been here, going on 30 years, and know half the people my wife knows, but everybody knows everybody. So hats off to WBCU, and hope and pray that y'all just keep up that good work, and you too, Daniel, because you do a fabulous job.
Absolutely, we couldn't do it without our businesses, and certainly not without our listeners.
That's right. Well, we're going to end it with this. We got Floyd Lyles coming next Monday, so stay tuned for that. You're going to hear some interesting things from him, from DJJ. You'll hear some stories there and a little bit about him. So stay tuned next Monday, same time, 7 o'clock, prime time with Jerry McKee. And you have a good